Share the video, let them know we're here. We're going live in a couple of minutes. We're in 104.7 with Robert Amar.
Drink and enjoy. Drink and enjoy.
Drink and enjoy, but remember, if you're drinking, do not drive. You know, we in Trinidad and Tobago feel we are God's gift to the greatest type of people in the world. We don't make Scotch whiskey in Trinidad, we do make rum. And then 90% of our songs is rum and bother me, and then everybody is happy. But just remember, there are no specially marked coffins for stupid people. They're just coffins. So if you decide to go on a drinking spree, walk with somebody to make sure that at least you can see the light of day tomorrow. Morning, Philip. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Morning, Robert. Thanks for having me again here. We've been doing this for quite some time now, these Thursdays. Good morning to all the loyal listeners of 104.7 that tell me they don't miss this show. Morning to all the people following us on Facebook, on social media. Morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Just do me a favor and switch on. No.
Switch mics?
Yeah, please.
You don't want this one. I have to switch the stand or to switch everything?
It's easier to just switch everything.
See how this one working.
1, 2.
See how this one working. 1, 2, 3, 4. Better.
Go again.
1, 2, 3, 4. You get a better one here?
I'm looking so.
Yeah, let's see. We try this one and keep going. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, that one. So I don't know what happened with it.
We're having a problem.
No, we don't have a problem.
It's not the mics, it's me.
You have a problem.
Well,
Nothing wrong with you. We go again.
Try the next one.
Yeah, one more.
We have a lot of options, so that's a good one.
Not like the government.
Not like the government.
Yeah.
Let's test this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. We the real thing there. We find it. When you see you start to talk patois, you know you find it.
Right. So Philip, just before we start, Shine 2 People, Bright Like a Diamond, Saturday the 20th of April, Club 129 in Malabar. Music Master International, DJ Howie T and DJ Kabuki and Dice. For more information, 3418540 or 7735047. And those of you who are looking for deals, going down to Hearty Foods, you got car parking, no wrecking. Yes. You know, in Arima, they're just like in Port of Spain, you know, wreck till you're dead. You know, they're picking you up whether you're right or you're wrong. And I did see the public, the Police Service Complaints Authority published something the other day about those rights. I intend to print one of those big and stick it on my window outside. So at least the people who park around this building will be able to call the police officer when he go to wreck the car, although you pick it up. You know, according to the rules, you have to give it back to him. Give it back to the person arrives there.
Yeah.
But in Trinidad and Tobago, when you reach by the police officer, he tell you no, he going with the car. He's breaking the rules.
He done left it up already.
So, Hearty Foods people, hot box available, catering available, the car park is there, you get free Wi-Fi, and yes, deal upon deal upon deal. So go on down to Hearty Foods if you're looking for some great value for money for both alcohol and food supplies. Philip, well, good morning. Good morning to you.
Robert, by 9 o'clock this morning, I said I didn't want to see anymore, I didn't want to hear anymore of what was going on in Trinidad and Tobago. The country feels like a failed nation, failing fast. In Victoria Avenue last night, a security guard was shot to death.
Security guard was shot to death?
In Victoria Avenue by TGI Fridays. There. So we reach in the bright part of the town and he was shot to death.
Hold on, you're talking about Ronnie Singer?
Yeah, they pumped so many bullets into him, his jaw left his body. I mean, it is insane. It happened at 7 o'clock. In view of witnesses, these people not masked, they don't care. In a country with 3% interdiction rate, they don't care. And I tell you by 9 o'clock this morning, I said, you know what? I had enough. Somebody sent me a message this morning, and then somebody else sent me another message. I just spoke to two of the best medical professionals in this country. I don't even want to allude to what they do because they sought after globally, and I don't want to put them on spot, but I asked them and I said, is public health murdering our citizens? And they both said yes. Patient named Rishi Bridgelal, 37 years old, went to East West Mount Hope, November in 2017, Eric Williams Medical Science Complex, Mount Hope in November 2017. To treat an injury on his elbow due to a fall. Current status, warded at medical 2 room 20 post-op, current hand is decaying. Possible amputation, and his entire body has infection to which the doctors cannot trace the source. Info source from his wife, an employee of the Ministry of Social Development who works for a salary and is at absolute wit's end. On 11 November, Mr. Bridgelal fell and injured his elbow. He was rushed to Arima Center and then transferred to Eric Williams in Mount Hope. His wife was unaware and his sister signed off for a surgery to be performed on his hand. 2 teams, orthopedic and vascular department, oversaw his case. I'm not calling the doctors' names yet. Surgery was 5.5 hours long. He had a cast from his armpit to his palm. However, post-op blisters started appearing on fingers and infection was detected. He developed gangrene. And there was no drainage passageway set up for fluids to run. So it all kept circulating in his arm area. After the surgery, his hand was swollen and black, and the doctors had advised that there is no life in the hand because they could not get a reading or pulse, oxygen and blood flow, and it needed to be amputated. Mrs. Ali Ramnath said no to the amputation because swelling is expected after such a major surgery. They ignored Mr. Bridgelal and his wife took it upon himself to massage and treat his hand, where the swelling eventually went down. And when they tested him, they got back pulse, oxygen, and blood flow readings. Now, since that time, the doctors do not properly follow up on his arm care, and it is a daily struggle between her and the doctors to treat the hand versus amputation. His wife, Mrs. Ali Ramnath, has some experience as she used to work for the ERHA, so she noticed the level of neglect her husband has been experiencing by the medical staff. And from November to now, she has been the one to clean him. This man went into the hospital for long and damaged his elbow, and he there since November. Robert, I'm gonna finish reading it, but I want you to watch this arm here, my arm. I got in an accident on the 10th of October 2008 at midnight. This arm. Truck broke a major road. I was driving a Prado. Anybody who's on Facebook could check my pictures and you'll see it. And a truck flew out of a side street without pausing to mash brakes. He didn't realize he was breaking a major road. But anybody familiar with the back streets in Barataria, they will tell you that there's a literal crisscross maze. So it flung the Prado that I was driving in the air, spun it around, and it spun on my arm. When it stopped and I got out, my arm was broken in about 4 different places. There was bone floating free and I was just spraying blood. They got me to Sinclair Medical Center, and in about 2 hours, a surgeon by the name of Godfrey Rahul, first time I met him, he showed up there, and by 8 o'clock in the morning, so this happened at midnight, by 8 o'clock in the morning, but over the night they had cleaned it up, stabilized it. They took about 24 x-rays, all different sizes. He sent it internationally for advice because there was a whole section of bone broken off, floating free. And 8 o'clock that morning, he woke me up to say, we're going to take you for surgery now. We're going to put on some external stabilizers. There's a big heavy thing that they put outside that's drilled into the bones that are still okay to stabilize your arm, because they needed the swelling to go down, they needed the fluids to drain, so that while that was happening, they were going to manufacture the pins required to assemble, to put Humpty Dumpty back together, because it was a lot of if you see the x-rays, it was literally a jigsaw puzzle inside my arm. 2 weeks after that, now this is every single day, I had to go back to Fracture and Orthopedic Center, and they would clean the wounds, because the pins that were holding this external fixator onto my arm locked my elbow tight so that this can happen, but those wounds were open to the air, so they had to clean it and readjust this thing every single day. And then in 22 days, they went in and they cut from my shoulder to my elbow, flay my arm, and reassembled it with 20 screws and straps and metal bars inside my arm.
So you buy a liquid.
Well, for a while. And for 6 months, it was slowly but surely, it healed itself. And at the end of 6 months, I was allowed to start rehabilitation. And then in a year, they went in again and took everything out. All the screws, all the straps, all the metal, everything. So just back to normal now. But they didn't describe my arm as a break. They described it as a crush. That's what they called it. Because my arm, and he said a lot of people get injuries for having their arm outside the window, which I learned. I don't turn on my window anymore because of this. The vehicle spun around on my arm. And so my arm made a full 180 degrees and wrung itself broken. And the reason I'm sharing this is because when I started back rehabilitation therapy, I didn't have the strength in my arm to turn a doorknob. And I had to literally start over. I mean, now you could see the size of my arm. I've been training for a couple of years and I'm back to perfect and normal. This cost me $350,000. $350,000. And that was a lot of money. But I wanted to save my arm. This woman dealing with her husband here, working for $2,700 a month. The public health sector in Trinidad and Tobago gets $5 billion a year. That's $5,000 million a year. More than half the population don't go near public health. And they use whatever private systems they could get. I don't know what happens to that money, to that $5 billion. We have an ambulance service that's supposed to, by law, by contract, provide 74 ambulances. That's what they signed for. We have roster sheets to show that there have days that the ambulance service have only had 22 ambulances rostered. And people have died. People have lost their lives. This gentleman is losing his arm. Another woman who wrote me last night, and I want to tell it, I want to contrast and compare. Because the level of health care that the public health sector gives in Trinidad and Tobago is atrocious. It is ridiculous. I'm going to read a story about a woman who was taken to hospital, who sat in a chair for 5 days and died. Now, I'm only reading these stories because these are stories I have, but plenty of people outside there have plenty more stories. And we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, cannot continue to wait in isolation until a loved one has, if you allow me to read the second story.
Yeah, go ahead.
We shouldn't wait until a loved one, and I gave my story as a comparison because you know private health insurance, state of the art, top of the line private health insurance. If you pay $4,000 a year, you get in blue chip health insurance. They fly you out if they can't fix your hair. The money that we're spending on health, public health insurance, if you took that same $5 billion and just insured everybody in Trinidad and Tobago and privatized the hospitals so that everybody could get that same top of the line healthcare professional first world, we'd save money, you know? And we wouldn't have these loss of lives and these stories to tell. But you're not even looking at it from that point of view. Because when you bring the Auditor General report and you read it here in the public space, and you look at the budget allocation, and you realize that we've spent $60 billion on healthcare alone in the past decade. $60 billion. Go and look at the San Fernando General Hospital where the ceiling caved in on patients. Go and look at the Port of Spain General Hospital. Jeffrey McLean, the head of Citizens for Conservation architect, he has been warning the nation since Manning that if we ever get a natural disaster in this country, an earthquake, a hurricane, the Port of Spain General Hospital will not stand. That the way the gas lines run, that in case of a fire, that whole hospital could blow up. That it is a ticking time bomb. And in a situation and a crisis that needs medical intervention and triage, that hospital wouldn't be available. I want to read this. This is not going to be easy to hear. This woman sent this to me, and I know her because she's a member of our party, and she's abroad right now, and she wrote this. Mom died a painful, horrible death under non-existent medical care in San Fernando in the past 2 weeks. I'm trying to keep my anger under control. I've been too ill to fly, so I couldn't go to the funeral yesterday. It began with my dad taking my mom to the hospital every day for 4 days until the early hours of the morning when they would go home for a few hours because they told him there were no beds. All those days and nights, my mother was in agony, sitting in a chair with no fluids and no pain relief. My father is a cardiac patient and he was exhausted, and none of us living abroad were informed because he didn't want to worry us until mom was found a bed. When mom eventually got a bed, the doctors in public healthcare had no clue whatsoever and effectively killed her. My father refused point blank to take her into private care despite our pleas from abroad because they were telling him they were doing all they could, and anyone with doctor in front of their name is like God to him. The medics and I use the term loosely, dehydrated her one working kidney over 10 days and escalated her death. Mom was only able to eat a few mouthfuls and drink sips of water in the week prior to her admission. They starved mom for 5 days in order to do an ultrasound scan, although they knew the scanner was broken. The doctors had no skill or expertise to gain intravenous access to provide crucial hydration, painkillers and antibiotics, and they gave her tramadol injections, which is for moderate pain. My mother was in agony, could barely speak due to constant crying and pain. And ought to have been given methadone or fentanyl to control her pain so she could at least die as painless a death as was possible. After 8 days, they transferred her to San Fernando General Hospital. Mom was discharged with a letter to go there herself. Precisely the same lack of medical attention continued there. As a result of dehydration and extreme pain, in her last 48 hours, Mom's blood pressure escalated. She had a stroke and a heart attack and died a horrible, painful, lonely death. The family were not allowed to stay with her, yet every time my family and friends visited, the nurses were congregating at the nurses' desks, chatting and laughing, whilst my mother was left on her own, bawling and crying in agony. Now, people have to understand, and if this is your loved one, you would know that you would see all of these things. I'm just reading, because this happened to this person. I guess they don't teach the nurses in TNT anything about easing emotional trauma and comforting distress and dying patients. Or is it that many nurses simply choose to disregard such humanity? Here in the UK, we allow the family to stay with such a patient, and when that's not possible, a member of staff is assigned to sit with the patient, talk to them, comfort them, and meet their care needs until they die. That could take several days sometimes. If I was never a health professional and understood how different things could be in public healthcare in TNT, maybe I wouldn't be so disgusted and angry. What passes for medical healthcare in public hospitals in Trinidad and Tobago is a complete and utter disgrace.
You know, I was speaking with you prior to the program starting, and I said to you that on Saturday gone, and I couldn't find the letter, but Fuad Khan did send out a letter last week where he was indicating that fake drugs are being sold in Trinidad and Tobago. And somehow or the other, the Minister of Health had made some statement. He was unaware of what was going on, and I was left without words to speak when I heard him on Saturday, or no, not on Saturday, sometime during the parliamentary discussion when the Senate was open, where he was then speaking very eloquently that since November last year, he had taken an action to get the Food and Drug and all these people involved. I really, as you say, can't understand. We have a national insurance health system. People contributed. We have a government that spends $5 billion or thereabouts per year.
Last year was 5.5.
In healthcare, providing, whether it's for salaries or whatever.
1 billion is salaries.
And then we have to ask ourselves, you know, really and truly, what is happening? I have the comfort though, which may be looking at it as a fool, but I have the comfort that with the new dispensation of the parliamentary committees, including the Joint Select Committees that brings all of these people to answer questions, that we have at least an opportunity, if the persons who are sitting in the Joint Select Committee avail themselves of the facts.
Yeah, but this is parliamentarians too.
Yeah, but remember, in this case, it is more, it's a kind of open book in that it's not just the government, it's the government, the opposition, and the independents.
Yeah, but what are the penalties for
Well, not even worrying about
lying?
the-
No, I said I ask you this
No,
because
you see, if we go down that road, Philip,
But-
we'll get nowhere.
pin it to
because
this.
You and I know
Pin
that
it to
there are no
Maxi Coffee.
penalties.
Pin it to Maxi Coffee.
Yeah,
Pin
but
it to
there
the
are
s-
no-
pin
there
it to
are no
the s-
penalties.
pin it to the Speaker of the House.
Okay, there are still no penalties.
What is the penalty for the Speaker of the House this morning who has been granting leave, Maxi Coffee, since September 2017 without the benefit of a sick leave certificate or a fit for work certificate?
Well, let us ask.
What is the penalty, Robert, when a PNM member is the Speaker of the House? When the UNC is in government, a UNC member is the Speaker of the House. How is any of what is going on in the Parliament representative of the people of Trinidad and Tobago?
You know, sometimes that's where you and I have a disconnect. Because I'm a real person. And you are trying to get answers for things you know the answers to. We unfortunately have a broken parliamentary system where accountability is not part of the structure. And in order for accountability to come, a prerequisite is for the people of the country to demand it.
Robert, you think Paula May Weeks, her very vocal excellency, who is President of the Republic now, doesn't know that Maxi Coffee is a member of Parliament?
But you see,
I'm asking you this.
Hold on.
Because
hold on.
if the Speaker of the House is irrelevant and the President of the Republic is powerless, we're playing a game.
Well, again,
We're playing a game.
why are you not accepting?
No, but we're
the
playing a
facts?
game. No, but Trinidadians need to know.
Well,
Trinidadians need to know, and they only going to know.
Philip,
You
for
could
heaven's
know.
sake, whether they know or they don't know, it boils down
Robert,
to them taking the
no.
responsibility to make the change.
Elections must come, and they must make choices at election time based on knowledge now.
They
And
will not do that.
Robert, I don't think they've ever had the amount of knowledge. Trinidadians are walking around in a daze now.
Well, whether-
Because they've never had the amount of knowledge that they have. We have been, you and I and others, in the past year and a half, have literally drowned this nation in information. Trinidadians know.
It has had no effect.
I don't know.
It has had no effect.
You could say that.
It is like a guy.
I get information from the ground that tells me otherwise, but I will let you say that. But I'm telling you, election time coming, the PNM and the UNC know. The game is changed for good.
Okay.
Trinidadians know this morning, those who don't know will find out before elections, that the well-being of each citizen is the function, purpose, and reason for government.
At the end of it all,
They didn't know that before.
hello, they always
They
knew.
thought that is elected royalty. Do me what you like. You win, take it and go.
I said to the people of Trinidad and Tobago already, and I've said this to you already, and I will say it again. The day 10,000 Trinbagonians decides to meet in the savannah on free will, just to come to show that they are caring about the changing of the landscape, it is the day when what you have just said will
Robert,
take effect.
Robert,
Until then,
I'll add to that.
you're a damn,
I'll add to that.
You're a damn dreamer.
I'll add to that.
You're a damn dreamer.
I'll add to that.
You might have good hope. You might have good all
I
the
know.
intentions, but at the end of it all, Philip,
I'll add to that.
you will be just like Jesus Christ.
I'll add to that.
They'll carry you up on the hill. They will crucify your tail.
I'll
And
add-
you, unfortunately, will not be able to come and go in the tomb and come out 3 days later.
Well, you and I don't know that because we still on this side of the tomb. But I want to say this thing, and after that, Carl Hudson Phillips Public Order Act that allowed us to amend our constitution to say that you and I have to get police permission to stand up for our democracy. And you see that nonsense law? The Progressive Empowerment Party promises to repeal that with immediate effect. 100,000 people need to be able to go and stand up outside the parliament because this is a democracy. But this is a bullshit democracy. This is not a real one. Because in Trinidad and Tobago, a 13th acting commissioner of police have to give you permission to engage in democratic protest. And that is madness. 100,000 people. 500,000 people. Trinidadians have never had to stand up for their country. They hand we something, they call it independence. We taking that. Massa gone. We didn't see Massa come back. We watched the Union Jack go down. And they raised the red, white, and black. They say, Massa leave we. We didn't see a new Massa show up. What Eric Williams and his clan did, make the Queen and any colonial look soft. Because the worst person to do you wrong, Robert, is family or people that look like you. Bob Marley said, only your friend know your secret, you know. What was done to this country by Eric Williams and the PNM and every single government since coming forward. I mean, A.N.R. Robinson and Bastio Pandey and Tapia and even DAC and all these other parties. That experiment under the NAR was making a crucial change in this country. The fact that the oligarchs that control the PNM was able to unleash hell in Port of Spain and burn the town down to get the government out shows you that the fight before us is not just educate, inform, and empower. We need to get elected to government. And we need to call out the people after the election, not before. After the election. Take a week off. I want to see 100,000 of y'all outside the parliament. Come with us. We will tell you the laws that need changing. We will write recall. Fire a member of parliament who doesn't show up for work. Gordon Draper missed nearly a whole electoral term. Remember that? Gordon Draper. Traders didn't know that MP named Gordon Draper. We need to get to a place where our people are fearless and courageous and willing to bleed red, white, and black. We need to get to a place where one people under one flag means that red, white, and black becomes something that we could stand for, stand together under patriotically.
Hold on. Any newspaper this month. As a matter of fact, let's do this first. People, we'll be back. Yes, people, it's finger licking good. And the time is now 29 minutes before 12 o'clock. That time check comes through the kind courtesy of KFC. Okay, Phil. Papers. Today, a couple weeks ago, chairman of the Economic Development Advisory Board tells the government, take it and put it where the nuts for the monkey do shine. That's the words.
Where the monkey put the nuts?
Yeah, take it and put it where the monkey put the nuts. Today, Economic Development Advisory Board has been dissolved according to an internal letter to the remaining members, which was received by the newspaper. Prime Minister Rowley thanked them for their services and notified them of the decision.
That's the one that Farrell resigned from?
That is the one that Farrell resigned from, or handed in, and said he no longer is interested.
Because he realized that they were being taken for a ride.
Yeah.
That you convene a board to hoodwink the people.
3 months
Use
after,
their name.
3 months after the fact, the blue shirt man who gets all the media support.
Your boy.
My partner.
Foreign base.
Foreign
used.
My foreign body.
Foreign used, Trini.
Who has contributed nothing to this country.
Come on, man. He taught Trinidadians how to march.
Okay.
Hypocritically. Because that same blue shirt clown that march against one party in support of another, seeing far more egregious abuses, and he ain't marching for them. Egregious. And he ain't marching for them.
Sorry about that, Philip. Make your point again.
No, you continue.
No, you continue, because what had happened is the numbers off.
So nobody, well, Facebook was hearing that.
Oh, but Facebook.
Nobody pointed him out, and I'll say it again. That guy and his wannabe party is serving one purpose only, and it is to harness state employees and to use them politically. The movement for social justice is not a movement for social justice. The movement for social justice is a ganging up, taking state-paid workers and using them against the government of the day. That is as close to treason as you could get.
Well, here's what the Prime Minister told whoever...
But it's not a real country. In a real country, lawyers would have stood up.
He said, I'm taking this as an opportunity to review the role that such a board can play in the economic policy environment of the country.
Double speak.
At the end of the day, all you have to do, Mr. Rowley, with full respect, is
resign.
Give me the job.
Now resign.
Give me the job. I ain't calling for resignation.
Resign.
All right?
Resign.
Because at the end of the
your
day,
economic advisory board collapse in a world where in 2017 the entire global economy
growing
3.5%. In 2018 it's growing still.
So we go on. For the past 20 years, government ministers have had the power to hire and fire political appointees as personal staff whose terms and conditions of employment are determined by the cabinet, says Permanent Secretary in the Public Administration Ministry, Joan Mendez. She was responding to questions from Nualu, who made reference to the recent sexual harassment case, which led to the firing of former Sports Minister Smith. 150,000 settlement was paid to his former secretary, Carrie-Anne Moreau, who made the allegation. That the JSC meeting on social services and public administration, Hussein asked what policy changes are proposed to protect contract employees against constructive and unfair dismissal. Now, I am a firm believer that Trinidad and Tobago, the citizenry of this country, knows very well that neither the PNM nor the UNC could solve the country's problem. I am a firm believer of that. But I'm also a true...
Wait, no, you stop short.
Why?
You stop short. And you know you stop short, you're laughing. The PNM and the UNC have to answer for the country. They have had economic and financial and social control of this country for the better part of 56 years.
You could wish for that.
Who do
Robert Christ come
a fella sit down in the restaurant and he say fire the chef.
Yeah.
Because he eating eggs.
Yeah.
And the chef come out and say, excuse me. He said, listen to me, I've been eating eggs my whole life. I've eaten them scrambled, I've eaten them fried, sunny side up, I've eaten them poached. These eggs, I can't eat them.
But he didn't eat them, what is it called? Benedict, what is it called?
Eat all. He said, but I can't eat these eggs. So who do I blame, the hen or the cook? You stop short. And you know you stop short. Give credit where credit is due. Robert, this country has been destroyed, deliberately so. And I think that the PNM and the UNC should get a round of applause. Somebody asked me, if you set out to fail and you succeed, what have you done?
Succeed.
Because that's what they did.
No, but
Robert, nothing works.
We making this
but you have to laugh. But you have to laugh. Who do I tell these people whose loved ones are dying? I am speaking now. And if what I am speaking fall in somebody's garden, we could end up in court for defamation. This is a country where the people have lost their voice.
And that is the point that I think you fail to appreciate and understand, which is the point I've been trying to make you for quite some time.
You see if we arrive at
that
that place of reason.
The decision for the country to move from where it is begins and ends where it has stopped, with the people.
Yes.
The people of Trinidad and Tobago are lazy. Is that what?
No,
you see,
no. Between the first point and the second point, you forgot this, right? Because if you don't have leadership to guide the people, you'll end up with anarchy.
Yeah, but
and I want to tell you, Abraham Lincoln said, leadership is not taking people where they want to go. Leadership is taking people where they need to be. Because Henry Ford had said, if I had asked the people what they wanted, they would have said, a faster horse. We, the people who have been blessed with the ability to critically think and deduce logically, who could come before the people and say, listen, because we're not telling you, give us your support just so. We're telling you that to fix healthcare, we need to do this. To fix government, we need to do this. To fix education, we need to do this. Yes or no?
All of those things I fully appreciate and understand, but you're not taking that in the context of the polarized society. The society will forever be...
This is a Douglas nation.
No.
This is a Douglas nation waiting to Douglarize itself. We not racist anymore. That whole racial, tribal, ethnic generation, that dying out. Watch, go in the gym, go in the nightclub, go stand up on the avenue, go St. James, go any bar, and watch people as they come through the door. Watch as they come through the door.
That's why we have no answer.
The front page of the Guardian this morning had to suck back the nastiness that they posted, that they shared as a front page against this girl who just did this country so proud.
Yeah.
Win a gold medal in the Commonwealth Games in Australia. And instead of focusing on the amount of effort that must have taken this child, you've just beaten 1 billion people. You're the fastest in the Commonwealth. And instead of focusing on the years of sacrifice that must have taken, the 3 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the night, they can't eat this, eat that, they can't play mass, can't go on the avenue and drink, can't smoke. Everything dictated, set to peak, and she delivered. And instead of focusing on that, they focus on the girl's sex life. That same Guardian newspaper today, too little too late, that den of iniquity, that Jamet of St. Vincent Street, Sabga News Network, today had to retract and say they realize that they didn't meet their high standard of publication. Kiss my half-red ass. You don't have a high standard for publication. You get catch. The public push you back. And I want to tell you this, that makes my point. Sabga News Network realized today the people are taking stupidness again. And if that is send reverberations in Rienzi and Balize House, wait a little bit longer.
That still does not change the
Wait
fact
a little bit longer.
that the 65,000 people who are in the country today supporters of that newspaper will still buy it tomorrow.
Not at all.
Yes.
Not at all.
They will.
Open the papers and see who advertising in it. Robert, I want to tell you something.
Hold on.
They make 10 cents on a paper. The distributors, I telling you, I know one of my friends was the distributor for the whole West Fire Express. He don't do it no more, so I could share this information. The distribution of the paper and the money that you pay for the paper pays to print and distribute the paper. But the operational cost of the paper is advertising. And without government advertising, they shut down. Right now, the only thing propping up Guardian and Express is government advertising. Pull that and they're dead. Nobody ain't running no classified ads anymore because nobody don't read classified ads in the papers. Everybody getting everything for free on their smartphone.
Philip, you know, that is not totally true, my friend. Because look at, I have been looking at the classified ads. It went from 6 pages to about 15.
Robert, come now, man. Look at what you're looking at.
No, this is
90% of that. Look at it. Look how much of it is fake.
People are paying.
Look how much of it is fake. Look how much of it is whole page ads inside of there.
Whole page ads.
What are those?
I have to call on you. No, that is not a true statement.
Check, Robert. I will bring old papers from home and show you what is the difference between classified ads and this.
Hell,
And even that.
We're not here to fight it.
You remember when we...
Forget
No, let's fight it out because you remember when we used to talk about clutter?
No. The part about it I want to share with your people who listen.
I could get distributors, newspaper distributors to tell you where they reach now from 60,000 to about 20,000.
After Senior Sabga passed, the new blip on all of the information produced by the Ansa Makal group was together we are family. When I saw that show up, I was blown to bits. To give the impression that here what? We understand. So when you tell me they took a back step from what they did recently, I am a little bit confused.
They were forced back.
All right, no problem.
They were forced back.
Forced
and if Trinidad and Trinidadians ever had any self-respect at all, because this girl is a national hero. This is the best we could be.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
I agree.
She symbolizes the best among us. She symbolizes the sum total of a life committed to a course of action, to an end result. She's the best we could be. And if we allow these heathens to continue on in business, we deserve what we get. Now I can't boycott them anymore because they have nothing I buy from them. Nothing at all. So they have no more boycotting for me. I look in the paper to see. I telling you.
Hold on.
Tell me that, man. Talk to me. Talk to me.
When's the last beer drink?
And laugh till I get out of your system. Because I don't drink beer, first of all. But I have 2 beers in my fridge that not local. And I'll tell you why. I never like those beers. And you couldn't advertise me enough and fool me into thinking horse piss in a bottle because it make in Trinidad I must drink it.
I have to disagree with you.
You could disagree as much as you want.
I'm a beer connoisseur.
I am a man.
No matter what you say. A stag is a man's beer.
Man's beer.
But Philip, come back serious now.
I want to tell you this. That newspaper need to shut down.
But
There's not enough apology. You can apologize to that girl.
At the end of it all,
Sabga have to buy her house.
That is
Give her X5.
That is wishful thinking.
Give her X5.
But
Come.
okay,
All of his family.
They might just do
All
that.
of his family,
They might
Sabga.
just step out and say,
Sabga. You just tell me they say all of his family.
Yeah.
She is family too. She's the best in the family. Sabga. Give her a house. Give her X5.
You can afford it.
Give it to her.
You know the unions have just rebelled because the Guardian has offered, or the Guardian Media Network has offered 4% increase.
Who the union representing in there? There are 5 people working there now. You think you know what you're talking about? Go in Guardian building, man. Go to CNC3. You have to walk past this whole pit, big like this building, that full of desks.
Desk and chairs.
That empty. Nobody there. Nobody there.
Yeah, but they're still getting.
They want
the
stuff.
balance sheet published is showing they're making money.
Because Nicholas Sabga and 2 people running the show now. They have one news media that is CNC3, Guardian, wherever they're broadcasting, and all their radio stations, they're selling off assets piece. And every week they're firing somebody. They fire Shirley Das.
Let's come back to the reality, Philip.
No, but I like that conversation because you see people power. People power shut down a bar. People power shut down a bar just last month.
So how come
Some last month, and they went in the court and they tell the magistrate, we do not want that bar in our community, and it is our community, and the magistrate had to agree.
You serious?
Absolutely. I will bring it for you. It's in the papers.
I didn't see it. In Woodbrook?
No.
Oh.
Well, you see, I want the people of Woodbrook to see that, because when the people were able to tell the magistrate, Your Honor, or whatever it is called a magistrate, these people are urinating on our walls. They're throwing garbage in the street. They're fighting in the road while our children studying, cussing and making noise.
If you look sharp, they're having sex on the pavement and walking around with illegal alcohol.
Every bar license granted in a residential community is a corrupt act. It corrupts the society. And the people charged with the responsibility of safeguarding the communities have been acting against the people in the best interest of the moneyed few. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to undo and redo the madness.
That is what I've been trying to tell you for the longest.
We've been agreeing on this. You just use different words.
We need to pick a single subject matter and deal with that.
Robert Bright, this week, live on social media, I call the Diego Martin Regional Corporation.
I was not coming to ask you about that.
I call them. I spoke to
the bar on the corner.
No. I call them and I asked for the chairman. I spoke to the chairman, Susan Hong. Ma'am, have you given Kiss Baking Company permission to break the law and illegally vend on the roads and the highways of your municipality? She said no. Do you have any recollection of them being granted any kind of license according to Act 21 of 1990, the Municipal Corporations Act? She said no. I said, thank you. I called the vice chairman. I said, I just spoke to the chairman, and she said no, but I'd like to know, in case you know different, because Catherine Mendez, she there a little while longer as a councillor. Have you ever heard of Kiss Baking Company being granted permission to sell, license to sell bread beside the road in Diego Martin? She said no. I called the police post.
You didn't call Darrell Smith?
No. Remember when we used to call Darrell every morning? Trinidadians don't remember, you know. Inside of here, we used to call Darrell Smith every morning. And he wouldn't take the call. We've been exposing that charlatan from the start, you know, when he was in regional corporation. We batting 6 for 6, you know. Anyway, I called and I spoke to the acting inspector of the police post. Are you aware that the law is being broken in Diego Martin? Do you know? And she answered me 2 questions and then silence. I said, why aren't you enforcing the law? Why aren't you asking the Kiss Quello bakery vendors to provide you with a vending license or remove them? She hung up the phone. She hung up the phone. The acting inspector. I called Starlight. Live, you know, we have it recorded. I called Starlight Shopping Plaza and I spoke to the manager, Miss Easton. By any chance, did you give
authorization
Kiss to sell outside the plaza? She said that is the main road. I'm not to do with us and we don't want them there. I called the Forest Police Station because this is across the road. And I said, and I'm speaking to Corporal, either Corporal or Constable Burgess. And she said, well, because you tell me that you're recording me, I can't take this call, and she hung up. So she didn't answer. But the point I want to make to you is, and then I called the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation, did the same thing. All 16 corporations between yesterday, today, and tomorrow are receiving letters from us requesting an investigation. We have a whole team set up, the country broken up into regions, and they're following up with all of the CEOs to find out. Because I called Kiss live. And I asked Kiss, I said, if I want to come and work with you selling bread, what do I need? Just walk with your ID and come. And I could get a job? Yep. Do I need a food bag? We will handle that for you. Who determines where you sell? We will show you, don't worry about that. If they have a place in front by me, I will come now, man. That's Kiss just... And they put this thing helping entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You know, as an entrepreneur, somebody who invests money and risk that for profit. That is what that's in dictionary definition of entrepreneur.
But you're leaving out that word, yeah?
The real entrepreneurs, Robert.
No, but you're leaving out that word in the Kiss. They say helping make.
No problem at all. I want to see how...
I think they are doing something.
I want to see $5 for a bag of hops. I want to see how putting people outside of real entrepreneurs establishments and undercutting them.
One I can understand.
They're undercutting the real entrepreneurs in society because the bakers and the bakeries who are paying their dues and their bills and their taxes and all of their rates and charges, who employs, they're not competing. Robert, if somebody come and
they're
open...
selling the same bread to the same...
But my partner, but my Syrian partner called me and tell me, Philip, it's the same thing in town. When we sell in a jersey for $9 and have to pay $15,000, $20,000 a month in rent, and a man come and stand up and hang up on the street sign, the same jersey for $6, he had no rent to pay. And that's what Kiss is doing.
Well, that is exactly what I just told the chairman of the NCC.
Bro.
I say, you're going to give this money for the Soca Drone to an already profitable man. I say, here what? Let me level the playing field. Give me the Savannah for Carnival Monday and Tuesday free. And I will take on the responsibility to run it. The same way you give an individual the rights to run the Soca Drone, and you give him it for free.
Seriously.
So we're going to test you.
So he don't pay the $100,000 a day.
He don't pay nothing.
It's supposed to be by law $100,000 a day to rent it.
It's supposed to be 15% of whatever they receive.
Or $100,000.
All right.
Tell me this. Kiss Baking Company is a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce. The most vocal when it comes to law abiding. I am hearing nothing from Doma, who are against illegal vending, Gregory Aboud, but he won't talk about Kiss.
Double standard.
He won't talk about Kiss. I'm hearing nothing from the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce. I'm hearing nothing about from the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association for all the breakfast and lunch they want to host to make the country better. Yeah. They don't mind sitting like hypocrites, mute, dumb, and silent, while a massive company who boasts that it is the largest wholesale bakery in the Caribbean breaks the law and assaults through unfair business practices genuine, hardworking, small business people, undercutting them to drive them out of business. Worse, these people that are trying to fool people as entrepreneurs, what they're doing is putting them at risk. You're taking people children and resting them where traffic is most dense for 6 hours because you want to sell bread where they have people stopping in traffic. When you stand up there, you're inhaling carbon monoxide
So
every day,
so
6 hours a day. So you're going to add.
Did not smell how to get pressure to just now.
But everybody need to be regularized. But this is where Kiss Baking Company comes in. Because Kiss Baking Company, if you really want to make people entrepreneurs, set them up in business, give them proper employment, give them medical insurance, because at some point they're going to develop emphysema and chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder because of standing in carbon monoxide for 6 hours a day, every day. They're at risk to robbery. One just gets shot. I don't know if he died. They're at risk to getting run over because they're darting in and out of traffic selling bread. How is this right or reasonable under any circumstance or situation? The chief executive officer of every corporation, regional corporation, and the mayor of Port of Spain and San Fernando have questions to answer. And Kiss Baking Company has to be fined for every day and every location, the maximum fine allowable, to make and prove the point that those who know better supposed to do better.
Okay, people, we take a quick break. When we come back, we will end up the show. Stay tuned.
TNT is the one and only where fashion meets
I agree with what you're saying, but we're back to the same thing after that. What do we do?
Empower the people.
If we can't empower the people, we can't make the change.
Exactly. And you're going to empower the people by doing this, because I'm involving you in this. We're going to be bringing, and I want Trinidad to hear, a class action lawsuit. You know, we've been working on the ambulance thing for a decade now.
Yeah.
We're going to be bringing what is the equivalent of a class action lawsuit in Trinidad and Tobago against the Ministry of Health and Global Medical Response Trinidad and Tobago on behalf of every single person who's lost a loved one. Anytime an ambulance took more than 15 minutes to get to the place, and in those cases where it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, look at the guy in Pinal whose granny just died. His grandmother sitting in that car and died waiting on an ambulance. And that is not the first, 4th, 5th, 10th, 20th, 50th. There are so many people who have died waiting on an ambulance in this country. It is obscene. And we need to get the courts involved, because clearly the government not doing their jobs. Neither the PNM nor the UNC are seeking the interest of the people. And we are going to petition the courts to do two things: to award compensation for loss to all the people who lost family members, breadwinners, and to wind up this contract, to order that this contract be wound up. Gary Griffith, former Minister of National Security, he had a plan to put government-owned ambulances in every fire and police station, GPS-connected, operated by the National Operations Center. That alone is evidence in a court of law that what we're doing now as an ambulance contract is madness. And they have sued me for defamation. I'm in court with them for having the temerity and audacity to talk about this. But I will see them in court on both occasions. You want to help with something? Let us show the people of Trinidad and Tobago the power this nation have to correct itself, to right-size itself. Start with certain issues. Force KISS to really give their people full employment, insurance, set them up in business, give them security, and stop undercutting, because those things come at a cost. So you will no longer be able to illegally undercut the other businesses, the other bakeries, who are actually paying those things and employing people.
I think that one is a good one. At least you could start there. So you need something that could wake up the country, that they have the power to do.
The ambulance service and public health. Public health. The court have power. The courts have the power, Robert, to order a commission of inquiry into the operation of public health.
We had one.
We need a more detailed one.
No,
we need to know.
You have to get that one first.
We need to know in the past 12 years. All I want to know is, in the last 12 years, show us where that $60 billion gone. Just detail that for me. That's all I want to see. I want to see what you spend on gauze, on bandages, on syringe, on blood bottles. I want to see. Yeah. I want to see the consumption of these things. Are we a nation of 1 million people, but we're using 10 million syringe? I want to see. We need to know. We need to know which companies have been supplying and have gotten the lion's share of contracts to provide. All of this will be very instructive going forward.
But that's why I tell you that the parliamentary committees is a good thing, but whether the people who sit on them have the capacity to ask the
We're beyond that. We're beyond that. With this, with the PNM and the UNC, we're beyond that, because it's games. When they come out of there, they're meeting in the back and they're planning how they're doing it tomorrow. That's games. Trinidadians need real leadership now. Trinidadians need a real government. Trinidadians need a government that will go up against these things and expose them and break them down so that everybody could get access to real government goods and services.
One lucky lady will walk away shining with jewelry courtesy in London Jewels. Doors open at 10 p.m. and your diamond class is only $150 even now. At Final Touch by Natasha Dinarima, Identity Electronics, 54 Henry Street, Forest Grange, Synergy TV Studios, 19 Avenue, Avenue, Woodbrook, Sylvester's Bar, Arima, and Club 129. Or contact Shireen at 341-8540. Mr. Voice at 773-5047. Shine 2.
All right, people, getting to that beautiful time when the air is rare, we have to say goodbye. We are welcoming, of course, the lunchbox. Nigel Stats is going to be here with you this afternoon, and he's going to take you all the way till 3. DJ Michael is also joining him, and together they are the duo that plays you the great music during your lunch period. Philip, next week we want to continue this discussion about the two things. I think we need to focus on the situation of the illegalities, because if you're going to bring pressure in town on the
We've written all.
Charlotte Street,
We've written all regional corporations. So by next week Thursday we'll be able to update you. We have a whole team working on that.
So, but I want to align it to the actions that they take with the people on Charlotte
Absolutely.
Street. But
But absolutely.
You can't come and want to
But it's not just Charlotte Street. It's all over the country. You're shutting down vendors.
And San Fernando is the same thing.
Next
So,
week, Saturday, this Saturday coming, Robert, the Progressive Empowerment Party is having a public meeting in Princestown JRD Convention Center, that is 34 St. Croix Road, Princestown. I'm inviting you now to be present 2 p.m. in the afternoon. This Saturday coming in Princestown. The public are invited. You see, we're doing everything. We're trying every time. We're coming in every place. We're making it possible. Of course, it's an open mic. It's open to everybody, and everybody is invited. Thanks a lot for having me. Again, thank all the loyal listeners who were on the show today. Trinidad and Tobago, it is time for us to stand up as one people under one flag. We're going to fix this country if enough of us are willing to do that. Thanks for having me. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.